Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This one's gonna be a little bit different style. This one's gonna be more of a vlog style video where I'm just kind of talking to the camera. I'm gonna be speaking on how my style has changed over the course of my 20s and as I approach 30 years old. I actually turned 30 in a couple months. So if you're a guy in your 20s and 30s, and especially if you're Canadian, American, British, European, then I think this video is going to be especially relevant for you as you're probably going through a similar journey as well. Over the course of my 20s, I tried a bunch of different styles, some good, some bad, but I'm glad that I did because it's really the only way that you get to learn about what works for you and what doesn't, so that you can eventually land on a style that is good for you. But now as I'm turning 30 years old in a couple months, I feel like I've landed on the style that works for me and I become more confident in that. So what I'm hoping to do with this video is to share what I've learned, key mistakes that I've made along the way, the changes to my style over the last decade, and what I'm doing now and into the future in terms of how I'm approaching style. So I hope all of you guys find this video interesting, and let's get into it. So hi everyone, I'm Nick, and if you're new here, I talk about men's style and lifestyle on this channel. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Bit of background on myself, maybe just before I jump in, is I've always had a passion for fashion. And in my life, I've worked at 2 different suit companies, helping men put together outfits, and one was actually a made-to-measure suit company. And I had the best time working at those 2 companies, learning about men's fashion, helping other men put together different outfit ideas for various occasions. And that's where I really fell in love with men's fashion even more so. So over the course of my 20s, I really got to develop my own sense of style, like many of you. And I think that's what your 20s are for. You know, your 20s are that time to experiment, try new styles, new trends, so that by the time that you hit your 30s, you've kind of landed on a style that works for you, and then it becomes more about refining that style over time. You know, I'm someone that I tried a lot in my 20s. I made a list actually. I grew out my hair and had highlights multiple times. I wore bold pieces. I have a bold leather jacket still in my closet, like a grease lightning jacket. So I tried a lot. I remember bright colored running shoes. I had this orange pair of running shoes that I thought were so cool at the time. Wore skinny jeans, ripped jeans, oversized shirts, bright colors, all kinds of different sunglasses and accessories, different chains and watches, bold watch, like I've tried it all. And now that I'm approaching 30, it's funny because you kind of put away the trendier items, the more bold items. And at least for me, I landed on more timeless classics. And that's the kind of direction that I'm going into now, and that's kind of how my style has kind of progressed and matured along the way. And the reality is it's still an ongoing process, right? Have I still perfected my style? No, I think there's room to work, but I've landed on kind of a style that works for me and is more mature. And as I approach 30, as I'm sure many of you are as well, where you're already in your 30s, your goals change, right? Your career goals change, your dating goals change, your lifestyle goals change, and your confidence changes, right? The difference between when I was in my early 20s versus now, career-wise, like in my early 20s, I had just graduated school, or I was still in school actually, but I was, working internships, nothing really long-term planned. Whereas now, like I have a career, I'm doing this on the side, and you're taking life a lot more seriously. And so your clothes reflect that. You're going into an office every day. You have to wear more formal clothing. You want to be taken more seriously, right? You have to dress for the role that you want rather than what you currently have, especially as a young person at a big corporation, right? Dating goals change. When you're younger, you're not really taking dating as seriously, but now you're taking dating more seriously. You're looking for marriage. You're thinking about, okay, I want to find a wife and have children. What does that look like? Maybe I should dress more mature so that I'm attracting the right woman, right? Lifestyle goals, same thing. You're not going out and partying as much as you were. You're going out for dinners maybe instead. You're going to more classy, formal events, right? You're not going to the same bars that you were going to when you were 22. You're going to different places, more mature places. And then your confidence changes too, and you get more comfortable with what your style is, and you're not just following trends. You're following what style you actually like, and you get more comfortable wearing that. So that was a bit of an overview on my style journey throughout my 20s and as I approach 30s. And it's also kind of why your style and my style should mature as you approach 30. So now I'm gonna dive into some of the style mistakes that I made and that I'm leaving behind in my 20s. So I'll speak to the big style mistakes that I left behind. The first one is overly trendy streetwear. So this is like baggy shirts, ripped jeans, graphic t-shirts, any kind of really trendy streetwear item. I'm leaving that all behind in my 20s. It was very trendy at the time, so I feel like it was tough to avoid. There were some things I didn't mind too much. Like I still have one pair of ripped jeans that I wear from time to time to country concerts, but I don't wear any of the other stuff. And I'm really not a graphic tees person, so I'm kind of glad that that era is over. So that would be number one, is overly trendy streetwear. I'm not doing that anymore. Number two is ditching anything that was cheap and flashy. So kind of along the same lines, but this is really of an emphasis on cheap. So buying from stores like Zara and H&M and even Shein, and just getting like really cheap items that you can only wear once, and then you basically have to throw them out. The third one is saying no, this is a big one, saying no to overly tight clothing, like too tight or too baggy, depending on the style. So skinny jeans, gone. We're not doing that anymore. Baggy shirts, overly baggy shirts, we're not doing that anymore. Especially, like I used to pair the two up. So again, that was the style at the time. So we're not doing that. The fourth one is gym wear and casual wear. So I'm actually in the process of upgrading my kind of gym and casual wear, and it's something I'm thinking more about, right? You don't have to go to the store and just buy something cheap or low quality. You can actually buy something that looks good, doesn't have to be too expensive, but you can buy something that looks good, that fits you well, and wearing that in casual settings, whether that's wearing some sort of sweatpants around the house, or when you go to the gym, wearing actually like a nice t-shirt and shorts. So I've been doing a lot more thinking about how to upgrade those two areas and what a 30-year-old should actually be wearing to, let's say, the gym, right? You don't need to be wearing like the baggiest pair or the ugliest pair of sweatpants that has stains on it. Like, it's time to get rid of that. So this is definitely one area that I'm working on upgrading right now. And then the last one, kind of touched upon this, is following trends. This is one thing I'm leaving behind in my 20s, is I want to follow instead a more consistent style. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try something here and there, some new item of clothing, but to just kind of blindly follow a trend, to buy very bold pieces, especially pieces that are outside of the natural style that I'm trying to curate, that I'm not doing anymore. It's to kind of try to avoid the extremes and stick with more timeless styles. Okay, so now moving on to the specific ways that my style has matured over the last decade. So number one is, I would say, style and color palette. I've landed on kind of a consistent style that I like and presents me as more mature. It's not doing those kind of flashy, more immature items like street style, that kind of stuff. It's more timeless classics. It's sticking to neutral colors like earth tones, navies, blacks, olives, beiges. And it's also leaning in more to this, whatever you want to call it, Euro style, classy style, old money aesthetic, timeless classics, that style, which is great because it's kind of the old money aesthetic, or that kind of classic style is kind of also a trend right now, which is funny. I think we went so far in one direction to the street style, the bold, these kind of really out there looks, that we're kind of coming back to more classics, more timeless, more elegant options. And I'm all for it, because as I approach 30, this is the kind of style that I want to be wearing on a regular basis. It's a lot more mature, it's a lot more dignified, and I love it. Number two is fit over flash. So what I mean by this is I'm sticking now to tailored silhouettes. Kind of mentioned this before. We're not going too tight, we're not going too baggy, right? We're ensuring all pieces fit together properly, right? There would be multiple times where I would wear like more of a baggier shirt, skinny jeans, or I wore, tight joggers with bigger boots, and it just wouldn't, the proportions would be kind of off. This is ensuring that everything is fitting together in a way where it's all kind of consistent and it looks nice. This third one is a footwear upgrade. So as you grow older, as I grow older, I find that the shoes that I'm wearing, I'm also paying more attention to. So again, we're not going bold colors. That orange pair of running shoes that I used to have, those are gone. I still do wear athleisure and athletic sneakers around a lot because I walk a lot in Toronto. So having a good pair of sneakers is a good idea, but I usually stick to neutral colors. Like I have a pair of black sneakers and a pair of white. That's basically it. The other thing that I'm doing is nicer quality boots. So especially in a place like Canada where we have pretty harsh winters, it's good to have a high quality, nice pair of boots. Paying a little bit more attention to what kind of boots that I'm wearing and ensuring that they fit with the rest of my outfits is definitely something that I'm doing now. So this is number 5, is fabric quality. This is a big one that I'm paying attention to now. So it's investing in higher quality pieces, more timeless pieces, even if you just like buy a few pieces and those become your staple pieces for your wardrobe, investing in those higher quality pieces that are gonna last you a longer time is definitely something I'm doing now as I approach 30. It's avoiding, again, I kind of mentioned this in the last section, it's avoiding Zara, it's avoiding certain items at H&M, although H&M is doing a lot better now, I think. And it's sticking to more higher end brands like, let's say, Reiss and Suit Supply. I love Suit Supply. They have some great stuff available. And I know it's a challenging time because the economy is not so great, but buying and investing in at least a couple of pieces can really be a great way to upgrade your wardrobe. And that's something that I'm trying to do more often. I can't tell you how much I hate it when I go to Zara, I buy an item and then I wash it and it doesn't fit. And I don't know what's happened to them since the pandemic began, but it seems to be happening a lot more often. So I just kind of ditch Zara. Also, their fit is pretty bad too. Unless you're a tall, skinny person, you know, it's just not gonna be great. So, and then the last point I wanted to make is on accessories, and that's going, again, more classic, more subtle watches, subtle rings, and then sunglasses. I used to wear sunglasses, really not pay any attention to the shape of them for my face shape. Now I find I'm paying more attention to how they look, how they balance out my proportions. And I might not necessarily be buying, you know, a $700 pair of sunglasses for every pair that I'm buying, but I'm also not buying just like the cheapest pair, right? I have a wide variety of sunglasses now. So those are kind of the 6 ways that my style has matured over the course of my 20s. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to talk about is really the mindset shift and also kind of what I'm still figuring out. So now when I approach dressing and getting dressed in the morning, the question I ask myself is, what does this outfit say about me? What does this communicate to other people? At 30 years old, I obviously want to be taken a little bit more seriously than I did when I was 22. I'm using my style now as a way to communicate my competence, my confidence, and my self-worth. So now I dress for the man that I want to become. And most importantly, I'm not just dressing like a 30-year-old man, but I'm also acting like one too. I'm still figuring it out, as many of us are, right? I still see new styles and new trends that I wouldn't mind trying, and I wouldn't mind seeing kind of what looks good on me, which I still think is okay to do. I still think you can do that. I'm gonna still do that. But the difference between when I was 20 versus now as I approach 30 is that, number one, I have a consistent style that I can call mine. I dress for myself rather than just blindly follow trends. And I'm a lot more confident in what I'm wearing and what I like. So my main takeaway for all of you, if you've made it this far, is your 20s are really that chaotic time in your life, and they're meant for trying out things. So go out there, try the different styles. But by the time you approach your 30s, or even if you're in your 30s right now should be a time for you to land on a particular style that you like, a style that is more mature, and then refine it. And that's what your 30s are for, is constantly refining. But by the time you hit your 30s, you should have a good understanding of who you are and what style you're going to call yours. And that style should be something that is more mature. So if you're in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, or any age, and you like this kind of Euro / classy / old money aesthetic, this kind of elevated look, this timeless classic style, then my channel's made for you. So give us a subscribe, and I hope you join us on this journey and be a part of the community that I'm trying to create here on my YouTube. So I share a lot about my own personal style, hoping to share more vlogs along the way. But this has been my first vlog, so I hope you guys liked it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.